as we're joined by Audacy NFL insider Brian Baldinger, host of the Audacy original podcast In the Huddle, with Jason LaConfort and Carl Dukes covering the entire National Football League. His Baldy's breakdowns go viral every week on Twitter X. How the heck are you, Baldy?
I'm doing great. It's good to be with you guys, man. Week 6, we're cruising, but always a good moment when I get a chance to talk football.
Yes, it is. It's always good to talk with you, talking football and whatever else comes up. Now, how much better at 6-0 do you think are the Eagles than the Cowboys sitting here at 3-2?
Well, I mean, they haven't played the 49ers yet, so they will play them, and that seems to be the barometer in this business right now, as Dallas found out. But I think Philadelphia is better. I think they're better in the trenches than the Cowboys are. I think they have more star power than the Cowboys do. The Cowboys do have Micah. Obviously, he's a great player. But, the Eagles with Jalen Carter and Hassan Reddick and Sweat and Fletch, I mean, they're just deeper. They're just deeper and better. The Eagles are a better offensive line than the Cowboys are. They're better on the defensive line. And so I think the quarterback is better than what Dallas has at quarterback. So I think the Eagles are a better team.
They have been playing some close games. Is the league adjusting to what they do?
Well, I mean, look, it's still early for everybody. The Eagles have had as many injuries in the secondary as anybody in this whole league. Every week they're just juggling players just to see, taking guys off the street and playing them. Bradley Roby played last week. They signed him off the bus stop on Tuesday. They played him on Sunday. They're not completely healthy, back there. They've got 2 new coordinators. It does take a little time to kind of find your stride, but it's not like these teams have the lead and the Eagles got to go down there with 2 minutes to go win the game. It's not like that. But, they're not just running away with games either. So it says a lot about the league, and just how kind of balanced it is.
Well, you mentioned Micah, and Micah, of course, as you know, he's got that podcast, and he was talking about the Niners and the Cowboys. He doesn't think the Niners are just this level above or on a different tier. When you watch that game, do you think it was just a bad performance by the Cowboys, or do you think there really is a different level that the Niners are on?
Well, nobody's playing better than that quarterback. When you get a quarterback playing at that level, they're on a different level. He doesn't make a single mistake. He hasn't thrown an interception in 8 or 9 games. And he gets the ball to all of his receivers in stride. Like when he plays that perfect, and it was almost perfect the week before. He missed one throw the whole day, and that was a throwaway. And it was, outside of a couple throws in the second quarter, it was pretty perfect. So unless you're going to affect that quarterback, there's a big difference. And, Micah can recognize that, not recognize it, doesn't matter. When the quarterback is that unaffected by what you're trying to do, then there's a big difference between the two teams.
Baldy, when you watch Shanahan go to work offensively and then you see the next possession, McCarthy go to work offensively, does it feel like you're watching 2 different sports being played?
Yep, I do. One, can really spread you out sideline to sideline with elite players, and then they can stretch you vertically with great players. And you can run Christian McCaffrey on what looks like an innocuous handoff, just a ball fake. The next thing you know, they're throwing a Texas route to him on the backside, and it looks like he's the primary receiver. They're not magicians, but it looks like 2 different offenses to me.
Baldy, when you watch the Cowboys, they finally got back the 5 the starters. It seemed like forever before this group ever got to play a down together. The struggles that they had, was it more that what the 49ers were doing to them on that front, or were there some technical things that you saw with the Cowboys that they were struggling with in that game?
I didn't think Tyler played good.
No.
I'm a Tyler Smith fan.
Yes, sir.
And I blew him up a bunch last year, but he didn't look good in that game. Now he's going up against Javon Hargrave. He's going up against some elite defensive tackles, but I've seen him go up against elite players and move bodies. Like he can move big bodies. I didn't think he played well. They couldn't run the ball. They haven't run the ball against the 49ers at all in the last 3 meetings. They've completely shut down the run. And they need, look, for the Cowboys to be good, to be competitive, to play deep into January, they need to run the ball. And they're not just throwing Kevontae Turpin back there and running a fly sweep. They need to knock people off the ball and run the ball effectively. And they didn't do that the other night. They didn't run it a lot, obviously, but playing from behind. But they didn't run it when they had a chance to run it.
It's Brian Baldinger here with you on 105.3 The Fan. When you say nobody's playing on Brock Purdy's level, what do you think his ceiling is as far as, could he, play his way into being in consideration for his up there as the top quarterback in the game?
Well, he is the top quarterback in the game. Nobody's even close to him right now. Tua, Burrow, nobody's close to him. Like, he's setting records every single time he goes out there. Like I said, I'm jokingly around. I said, he looks like he's artificial intelligence quarterback. Like, nobody plays that good, that perfect. I mean, he put a ball on the right shoulder of Brandon Ayuk on a dig route. It looked like he Velcroed the ball to his shoulder. Like, you couldn't throw it any more perfect. The touch, the speed, the location. Sometimes you come away and you have good stats, but, the other team drops 3 interceptions. That's not the case. It's not like guys are dropping interceptions. They're not getting an opportunity to intercept the ball. So I don't know what the ceiling is, because everybody said from the beginning, this will end, they'll figure them out. Well, that was the number one defense in football, and they've been living off turnovers and takeaways against everybody else, and they couldn't come close to getting one. They couldn't pressure him. They couldn't, force him out of the pocket and make a bad throw. Like, he looked like, I don't know. It looked like he was a Friday afternoon practice to me.
Yeah. He's figured out the league more than the league's figuring out him. So if there's an all-time, all-player available draft right now, maybe not all, no, just right now for this era of quarterbacks, would you take Purdy ahead of Patrick Mahomes? Is that what you're saying?
No, I wouldn't take anybody over Patrick Mahomes, because he's done it in the biggest games over and over and over again. I mean, even last week, it's 4th and 1 at the 50. There's no reason why you're not punting the ball. None. And Kansas City's playing in Minnesota. And Andy Reid calls a deep shot with Mahomes. Now, they got defensive pass interference, but nobody would make that call in this league. But it's just, the belief in the quarterback. So I wouldn't do that. And I probably, a healthy Joe Burrow, I probably wouldn't pass on that. But there's not a whole lot of other guys I would take over the way he's playing right now. Now, he might all fall apart. He hasn't played 17 games yet. But I think what we're looking at and what we're watching is who he is.
Cowboys defense have had 3 incredible performances, granted against 3 very poor offenses, and then you had the stinker in Arizona, and then obviously what happened on Sunday night. Through 5 weeks, what's your assessment overall on this Cowboys D?
Well, they look like that basketball team that plays in a small gym on Friday night, and the crowd's going crazy, and when they start running and dunking on you, like, they look unstoppable. And then you get them on a big NBA court, and you slow it down a little bit, and, you play against a smart team. They don't look at all invincible, like what Arizona did to them when they ran for 222 yards and they pushed them all over the field. So, you get 2 different teams, and I don't know which one it is yet. I think they're more of the team that can take it away, because they've done that for 3 years in a row now, which is probably the most disappointing thing about the Cowboys offense is nobody's gotten more extra at-bats than Dak Prescott in the offense over the last 3 years because of what the defense has done. But, they're a team that feasts off turnovers, and if they don't get them, they look – they're not pedestrian, but they don't look all that special.
The Cowboys are suffering now at linebacker with the injury to LVE. Yep. Do you think Micah now has to go back to more of an off-ball linebacker role, or do you think, no, don't do that because he's so darn effective rushing the passer?
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because, I think Micah was able to really freelance and do what he does best, which is just use his instincts and just chase after quarterbacks. They were able to do that because they had Leighton behind him. And with his speed, if you had a poor rush lane, the quarterback broke the pocket, whatever, like they had Leighton to kind of cover for him. And they don't have that right now. And, just like we found out, like Trayvon Diggs makes a big difference in that defense. I think we'll find out again when you lose Leighton Vander Esch, his speed, his ability to cover really sideline to sideline and chase guys down, like that's going to be a big hit. So I don't know yet what Dan's going to do. If he's going to allow him to freelance as much as he has, or if he's going to be more in a traditional role. I don't know that until we watch him against the Chargers this week.
It's Brian Baldinger here on 105 Through the Fan. Can you help us out at all with Rashaan Evans, who the Eagles signed and then he was gone 4 days later? Did you hear anything about why the former Bama first-round pick in 2018 didn't stick around there? Because the Cowboys have him in today.
I don't know. I mean, he's been a good player when he was in Tennessee, and he was a starter. I don't know the injury history and the medical and all that kind of stuff, which can chase a player away pretty quickly. I don't know of any off-the-field issues with Rashaan, but I know there was a stretch when he was a really good inside, off-the-ball linebacker for Tennessee. But it seems like, in this business, it seems like that's been, a while ago.
Baldy, if I could circle back about, you mentioned about with the Mike McCarthy, and I was wondering, you've watched a ton of Cowboy games, evaluated a ton of them on tape. Is this offense conducive to Dak Prescott's style of playing, or is it still way, way, way too early to say that?
I mean, I think Mike wants to run the ball, really effectively. I don't know. Dak seems to get in trouble, and I know they went back and watched everything, when he's late in the progression. If you said, okay, CeeDee Lamb's coming off this double screen on the inside, and this, Dak's fine. If you said, okay, read this side over here and high-low this and read the corner and this, he's fine. But like a lot of quarterbacks, not just that, but when they get late in the progression and they got to make decisions, Jimmy Garoppolo, Dak Prescott, they seem to make errors when it gets late in the progression. And I don't think I'm wrong saying that, and I'm not here to bash Dak, but we have seen this pop up. It happened on Sunday night. It has happened against the 49ers before the playoff game last year. It's happened against Washington late in the season. It seems like when he gets late in the progression, that's when he makes mistakes and he makes his errors.
Baldy, what do you think of these rookie quarterbacks? Bryce Young, Richardson, he's banged up now. And then, of course, C.J. Stroud. How impressive have you been with some of these guys?
Well, C.J.'s been impressive. I mean, they had when he left the field on Sunday, they were 3-2 and they beat Atlanta. But, he scored, threw the touchdown to your Dalton Schultz, with a minute and 50 to go, and it gave Atlanta too much time to go down there and kick a field goal to win it. But he's been awfully impressive. He's made, like good quarterbacks do, Nico Collins was a guy before he got there. Now he's the number one receiver. Tank Dell's a rookie. He looks dynamic. Like Robert Woods, he's got a role. Dalton has stepped up, and he looks like, a really good tight end. CJ has been heads and shoulders above everybody, but I will say this. Richardson, I know he's been hurt twice, but, man, he looks like he's been playing this game a long time. Like, he's not making rookie mistakes. He plays the game with no fear. He's got a rocket of an arm, but with touch. He's been impressive when he's been out there.
It's Brian Baldinger here wrapping up. How much does the Cam Jurgens injury impact the Eagles' offensive line?
Sua Petter's been really good. The 6 quarters that he's played. I mean, Aaron Donald, his name didn't get called on Sunday. Sua was a part of that. So was, Kelsey. But, I mean, Sua Petter's been in this system now, drafted out of Oregon State, been in the system for 4 or 5 years. Like, it's a luxury to have a guy that has been coached by the same guy, same system, for those years. He stepped in and has played real good.
What are your thoughts on that brotherly shove or the tush push and kind of how that should go moving forward? I mean, the NFL, I think, is going to do some looking into the injuries and the impact of that. I mean, it's such an effective play. Philadelphia runs it masterfully.
Well, I thought they would outlaw it because it just looks like an unfair advantage. But more than that, to some of your points, the injuries, I mean, guys are going to get hurt jumping over the top and trying to, go for Jalen Hurts' head. Like, they're going to do that kind of stuff. I'm not saying it's right or wrong or whatever, but you're going to do something to try to stop it, anything they can. Now, I asked the officials how do they officiate the play, because that seemed like the reason why you would outlaw it. And they said, well, as soon as the quarterback starts going sideways, we're going to blow the whistle. Well, all right. That sounds great, in June when you're talking about it. Mm-hmm. Like, it looks impossible to officiate, on Sunday afternoons. So other people have tried to imitate it. Nobody's duplicating it right now. But, Jalen Hurts deadlifts 650 pounds. Yeah. He's the strongest quarterback in this league, and nobody's close. And so that's what you can't duplicate. is his leg strength, and it's one of the reasons why they're so good at it.
Well, you're great at this, Baldy. We appreciate you as always. Enjoy your week 6, and we'll catch up with you soon.
My pleasure, guys. Take care.
Yeah,
Enjoy the weekend.